All right, peace to you and yours. George Taylor back with another metaphysical moment. Shall we indulge today? How to cast out demons. Yes, today. How to cast out demons. Let's get rid of all demonic spirits, incantations, everything exalting itself against the knowledge of God. Let's cast it down today and in this moment and let it be done and nullified forever. Now, first funny thing, demons are funny to me. When you get into etymology, right? First thing, the word demon comes from the ancient Greek daimōn. Now, I just want to start off and say, why is demon daimōn? Why is it daimon? Daimon. Why are the Greeks calling a demon daimon? Doesn't it sound like they was hating on somebody black? Mind you, nevertheless, the word demon comes from the ancient Greek daimon, which originally meant a divine spirit. Listen, what is a demon? This is what the Greeks meant, that it was a divine spirit, lesser god, guiding spirit, or totality, right? Deity, right? We'll look that up. Basically, a supernatural being that could be good, neutral, or just powerful, right? It traces back to the Greek verb diastia, meaning to divide or to distribute, right? So think about how something is divided or distributed as far as the ethereal world, right? Daimon was something that allots or provides fates or destinies, right? So a demon is a lesser god or spirit or incantation, right? That provides or allots certain destinations or deities. So basically, a demon is actually another way of addressing a spiritual entity, incantation, thought, reality, but how it comes into being and then how that shit spreads around. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm overreading this already. I really don't care what the Greeks said about demons or daemon, but I just thought I'd start here and ground our interaction with this. Okay, if no one told you, you have power and authority in heaven and earth over all demonic forces and entities, celestial beings, in the ethereal realm, in the earthly realm, the physical realm. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. But my point is here, you have power and authority over demonic forces, right? Within yourself and within the world. All right, now look at this diagram, right? This right here is casting out demons, a metaphysical process. I made this for you guys. When I address metaphysical information, I'm talking about how the truth takes place within the body. That's me. When I'm talking about metaphysics, I'm talking about how the truth takes place within the body. Metaphysical process of casting out demons, the preparation phase, right? Purification, perfection, and spiritual alignment via cleansing the body and space, casting protective boundaries, right? Cast protective boundaries and align with the divine source, okay? Now, in the confrontation phase, commanding authority, evoking divine power, and confronting the entity, right? You have power over demonic entities and incantations, correct? So we speak with a firm voice, right? The whoo, the wind, the breath was in the body. See, breath work, this is where breath work comes in. And this is where practicing all of the time of your life, like understanding that it takes time for you to become a more masterful, more be. See, this is why those practices of spirituality comes in, because you should know as a divine being, I'm going to be commanding authority over things in his life. I'm going to be evoking divine power, and I'm going to be confronting demonic entities like I'm really fitting to press you, right? Speak with a firm voice, invoke sacred names, face the presence directly. Now, invoke sacred names. Invoke sacred names. Somebody feels like there's a name above all names. And I do believe in that. I do believe there is a name, right, above all names. But the name, right, is tied to principles, methods, and sequence. And it's hidden in a realm, hidden in a hidden realm of thought, right? And I say that to say this, being as though, don't even believe what I'm about to say next, just listen. Being as though people believe, right, there's names above all names. W- We know what people think those names are. Why do people not walk around with this authority, right? Why are people not walking around with these authorities? Go on anyway. We're not going to stay on that too long. Invoke the sacred names, guys. It's more than one sacred name, but there are names above other names, right? All names don't mean the same. All names are not equal, but invoke sacred names. Now, the expulsion in the sealing phase, banishing the daemon, and sealing the space. Listen, breaking chains, closing the doors. We got the shield of light. Remember my ebook, The Nature of Light. That's why you're going to need that, right? You're going to need to get that ebook. It is the audiobook is $14.95. The ebook is um $9, but you get it free with the audiobook. But check this out, right? So we're going to command the departure in the sealing phase. Then we're going to close the portals, right? That's deep. It's so deep because somebody might say, well, what are the portals? I don't know. And we're going to break that down in this video, but we're going to say every portal that we know of, we're going to close it, right? And then we're going to cleanse the space or protect the space permanently, right? If you do everything that's on this sheet, I'm telling you, the demons is going to be running from you. Struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against but against the rulers and against the authorities, against the powers of the dark world and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world and against the spiritual forces of evil. Heavenly realms, the mental realm, subconscious realm, conscious realm, superconscious realm, right? The celestial realms, the ethereal realms, right? They have demonic forces in them, guys, in some ways, shapes, or forms. Argue with me later. Argue with your mama. Luke 10:17. And 72 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. Going back to the thing of how we broke down how to get rid of a demon, we said invoke sacred names. Mark 1:23 and 27. Jesus cast out an unclean spirit in the synagogue, commanding it to be silent and to come out. The spirit obeys, showing his authority. Now, mind you, a lot of this I gave the codex to how you do this very, very simply. Matthew 12:43. When an unclean spirit leaves a person, it may return with 7 worse spirits if the house is left empty. Now, mind you, in the last step I just showed you, and I'll show you guys again, it said cleanse the space permanently. You know, a lot of our sacred spaces, pay attention, a lot of our sacred spaces within our diaspora and within the community, we don't cleanse things permanently. We cleansed it for a time and then we allow certain things to run wild. And through the law of cause and effect, the fact that by every effect is preceded by a cause, we kind of are owed what things have become. Incantation, sorcery, and witchcraft. Let no one be found among you who practices divination, sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Now, what I want to say about that is indigenous spirituality and non-ether beings, we are people who are connected to nature. So when we say this, we're talking about people outside of that. So one of the greatest destiny swaps in scripture is YTs today, and through Protestantism and Catholicism, they were saying anyone outside of those frameworks were into divination, sorcery, interpreting omens, engaging in witchcraft, when it's actually the opposite way. But as long as you understand that, then you understand this. Galatians, the acts of the flesh include idolatry and witchcraft, right? So that's the fleshly actions. Those are the things that keep demons, right? The weapons we fight with have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ, right? Submit yourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you, right? You guys following what I did here? You know, submit yourself to God, resist the devil. If you go back to that original image and think about it, 1, 2, 3. By the way, if anybody ever wants any of these teaching aids, just comment teaching aid and I'll send you the teaching aid. But it took you through a process, right? And at the end, it talked about cleansing the space and shutting the door, and it's cleansing the space permanently. Cleansing the space permanently, right? If somebody wants, let me change subject. If somebody wants to know, so they came to Jesus and they said, Jesus, well, how are you able to cast out these demons? And he said, well, some things can only come by fasting and praying. Cleanse the space permanently. Cleanse the space permanently. So as a ethereal being, one of your jobs in the spirit realm, as far as how you do your spiritual baths, how you approach your wealth as well, but I meant to say health and wellness, right? The gym, stretching, breathing, herbal baths, herbal teas, closeness to nature, Fruits of the spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, meekness, long suffering, acquisitions of thought, education, all of your mastery of the divine feminine and masculine energies. As you get into that, what is the purpose of that? It's to clean the space permanently. Cleanliness is next to godliness, right? Y'all gonna receive this word today because the shit is not that deep and it's very simple. And based on the law of cause and effect is a part of why life is simple, because every effect is preceded by a cause. So when you have certain effects, you must just wonder what are the causes. And when you learn those causes, you must learn those effects. And when you learn those effects, you must set up new causes. And you also be given the understanding to see what are the right causes and the beautiful causes of things, right? Moving forward. 1 John 4:4, you dear children are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world, right? Forget who is in the world. Forget the demon. Forget daimōn. This person that you're greater than is the person that comes from this entity. This incantation is the incantation that comes from the unprepared space, the non-cleanly space. Romans 12, what is it? 1, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto him, which is a reasonable service, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. What's the verse talking about? Keeping spaces permanently clean, giving you power and authority over all demonic incantations. Understand that power, understand that authority, understand these parts and how they fit together, these sequences. But above all, know that you can walk into a space and clean it, literally clean it, spiritually clean it, ethereally clean it, celestially clean it. We have power and authority. And speaking of the power and authority, I'm gonna end this video like this. Listen, George Taylor with another metaphysical moment. Link in bio for free healing, free education. My highest ticket item is my mirror mentorship. Only a few and the proud and the brave were ever going to pay for that and join that. But this is what I want you guys to understand, right? I come against every demonic spirit, demonic force, and incantation that presents itself in your life through the medium of television, through the medium of the computer, within your own heart, within your own family. And I speak love and light and cleanliness over everything in your life. Everything in your life, right? And I cast down every demonic force. Now,